when we're really ready, it's something just happens where there's no effort. That's why I call what I do is practicing freedom, practicing clarity. We're practicing a new way of being. And you were also what I call an applicator. You're someone who takes the information, takes the way in which we're doing it, and then you replicate it. You didn't just slough it off and not do anything. And we can only get great results. I can't do it for you. I can guide like no tomorrow. I have guided so many coaches on so many levels. Those who I work with, it is always easier if I know that someone is going to take the responsibility and do the work themselves, even if it's a little bit at a time. You don't have to spend millions of hours. There has to be something that happens. And you're the kind of person that you didn't waste time or your energy in your investment in yourself. You said, I'm going to take this and actually invest by doing it within myself. And that I think makes a huge difference. Because if people come to me thinking I'm going to do it, I'm not going to say yes to them.
That's the same thing with what I do too,
Exactly.
with the coaching. I can't go into people's homes and make their dinners and
Right.
and do it for them. They need to do it, and I only work with people who are ready as well, because at the end of the day, it is a combination of your own individuality and your commitment to whatever you decide to do, and the relationship that you have with the person that you seek out to do it with. But you need to, like I need to come to you, and vice versa, because we're responsible for our own healing, and the way that we live our lives. It's my responsibility. So I need to be the one that's like, help.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't even know that they can ask for help. But I've done a lot of different kind of work over the years. And when I did a lot of the what some might call woo-woo, I never did, but really deeply spiritual or more shamanic stuff, people started leaning on me in a way that it was more on me. So for me, it's like I am willing to work with someone as long as that other person, like you, is self reliant. And you and I have that together. I'm self reliant in our relationship when I'm getting my guidance and coaching and support from you and the food, and which is a huge deal. It's literally saved my life. On the flip side of that, you took care of yourself. That to me is a spirit of partnership. It's a symbiotic synthesis that really assists in a grounding way. And we trust each other because we trust ourselves. And that's a huge part of this, is really having that, practicing confidence. Confidence isn't like ta-da, but it's actually a level of courageousness. In courageousness, we're at a higher level in the scale of emotions above the lower frequencies. So in that space, it's easy. When you're encouraged, you suddenly can do it. And when we remove the blocks and the barriers and the negative mind crap, and we go into that oneness, which you really were able to do so beautifully pretty much every single time, then you suddenly remember, oh, that's right. This stuff does not have power over me, right? You
Mm-hmm.
said in the beginning, I said, what was
Yeah.
the biggest takeaway? And you said,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So,
it's difficult being a human. It's difficult being here. It's difficult being in a body and dealing with other bodies and personalities and spiritual, traumas and such as that. So when you do a certain amount of work and you understand that you're not the body, that we are a spiritual being, and you do this work, we forget though, sometimes we get pulled into the drama and the whatever of life. And so I was ready for this. And then us working together, it just really helped ground me and help me remember that I'm a spiritual being, and I'm just operating in this world, and to not take it too seriously, but to also, I'm here, I got to do my part.
yeah,
There's certain things that you need to do to be human.
Yeah, well, destiny is going to lead you. You're going to do whatever you're meant to do here. Know what you can't stop it. Whatever's going to happen will happen. And yet we have this capacity for taking responsibility to shift and start focusing on the clarity, practicing freedom. That's what we're doing. That's how I look at it. Because otherwise we're just practicing a bunch of habits of old, habits from this lifetime, for some people, perhaps from other lifetimes, um, are habits that are out of tune with our our actual design that we're meant to live. And when we start bringing these things together, the really important stuff, the practicing freedom, the human design, your authority, your strategy, um, how you are meant to work in the world, stuff starts falling away so that you can just really be you. And then you get to show up being who you are. You're already living your purpose. We just want to clean it up and neaten it so that that alignment can really happen. And now you have you had what, three main jobs basically. Now you have a big main job. You got let go of the other one because
Mhm.
it kind of took over. You want to talk about that a moment? You don't have to.
That was the other thing too. Gosh, a lot of things happened in the last 4 months, but I was ready to make a decision. I was self-employed for 5 plus years, and then I decided to go back to work for my boss. And it's a big position. And so I went back to work for him, and he let me keep a small accounting client and my wellness business. But now it's coming up a year next month, and I'm ready to let go of my small accounting client. So I was able to, with our work, come to that, to be very clear that now is the time to let go. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm finishing up with him. But to get back to people noticing things, my mom, she's like, wow, she said you are in such a better place than you were. She's so happy, to see her daughter not struggling and feeling peaceful. I told her yesterday, I was standing in the backyard getting my vitamin D. It's been a little chilly. So I got out in the sun getting my vitamin D. And it was just, I live in a place that's, relatively quiet because I don't have neighbors on two sides. And I'm feeling this peace. And I started to cry because I feel so incredibly grateful that all of this stuff, this really difficult stuff that I've been going through the last few years, has now come to a place of peace. And
Mm.
I'm just so grateful. And I'm going to be very careful who I let into my little world here because I really love it. And we can't help some things. Things are going to happen, but there are some things that we can prevent by not allowing certain people in. And I think when you fulfill yourself and you work through your own stuff, you don't have the holes where, people, my mom used to tell me years ago, the person that you meet with has holes and you have holes. And what happens is you go like this to kind of fill each other's holes, but you don't come into the relationship complete. And I want to make sure that I'm working through my holes so that I don't let somebody in that's not going to be good for me. And sometimes I'm not good for other people. You're not good for somebody. We can be the toxic person in someone else's life,
Mm.
because we're going through something heavy and they can't deal with it.
Right.
But I think overall, to be careful who we allow in our lives all the time, that we live with and that we interact with on a daily basis, that's not um, that's not good for us, because it will suck the life out of you, the health out of you, and the mental, emotional stress can
Mhm.
be quite challenging.
So from that point, I'm going to remind you that the way you do that is not by avoiding, but by listening to your strategy and authority.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
the whole, it's such a good point you made because, you know, we are already free beings,
Mm-hmm.
spiritual beings. But we came here for a reason to, this is our schoolyard. And there's some things that we haven't learned. So what happens is, as human beings, we turn away from the truth of light, the truth of that we're already free. That's why you can go into oneness and experience freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So we practice it, so you are recognizing, oh, I'm not this body thing and this mind thing. I'm actually this. But we quickly turn away. And the things that grab our attention are the drama, the distractions, the problems. And the mind is actually hardwired to track negativity. So unless we practice something different, we don't really have an opportunity for that. But when we start sitting into our design, how we're literally made to be in the human realm, infuse it with this other very high frequency work, it all settles in. And then your strategy and your authority take over without you having to think. Your body will let you know this person is not okay for me.
Mm-hmm.
This person this is not a good fit. Even if your mind is like, oh, it's this, it's that, we have to go beyond listening to that mind. We got to drop into ourselves. Heart, dantian, which is around the belly button, or in the solar plexus or plexus solaris. You even had situations with your mom and dad, your father's health and stuff like that, and it kind of got situated a little bit. It worked itself out. First, you were going to do one thing, then it's like, oh, they're doing this. So remember, that's
Mm-hmm.
really your demonstration in the world of how you, when you're aligned to yourself truly and you're very in tune with yourself, you can, whatever is happening around you, you can actually shift it by not trying to change anything, by really being present to what's here. And you're good at that anyway. And refining these qualities that are already there, you got to practice that, right? And it is now, you said to me yesterday something about, I'm just trying to go with the flow, and and your design is actually super structured, but you also have fluidity, right? Feel free to join Michelle and I as we continue our conversation about her inner authority. If you'd like to learn more about Michelle, go ahead and check her out in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and love to hear any questions from you or comments. I will see you soon. Bye.